The information provided is not a substitute for legal and other professional advice where the facts and circumstances warrant. People should always consult their own legal or other professional advisors and discuss the facts and circumstances that apply to their specific circumstances. The information shared on Ask the Landlord is for educational purposes only.
Hi everyone, we're back with another episode of Ask the Landlord with our favorite landlord, Albert Dweck. I'm Melissa. I'm one of Albert's producers and a former New York City renter, a Pittsburgh renter, a Lafayette, Louisiana renter, and a Washington, D.C. renter. Together, we're going to be asking Albert some questions. But today, this question comes from me. As you know, I've been a renter in 4 cities, maybe more, and I'm 33, I'm married, and we're ready to buy. And we've lived in Pittsburgh. We liked it a lot. And we've been looking there for almost 2 years on Zillow. And also upstate New York, in all transparency. And I have been following the market. I know what things are costing. And we found a house in Pittsburgh. And the market is moving so fast. So we had to drive there. We're outside of Scranton right now and drive there the day before we wanted to see the house. It came on the market the day before. We saw the house. That wasn't the house, but then we saw another house that we loved. We put an offer. We thought it was a strong offer and we lost. So I want to know what is going on in this market nationwide. Who's outbidding me? There wasn't even a best and final. We can talk about that. And it was just a wild situation, roller coaster of emotions that I'm sure millions of people are going through right now. How do I buy a house today? That's the question, I guess. Help me.
It's a great question.
So ask anything you want.
That's a great question, Melissa. So in this particular time where we are here in June of 2023, there right now we have a low supply of available homes to purchase. Okay. Usually there's a number of months of supply of homes across the country available, and the supply of homes that are available to purchase have been significantly reduced because new homes haven't been built as quickly as they had in the past, and more people have been moving to live in their homes with the low interest rates, although that's changing now. So you're finding yourself in a situation where you're like, oh, okay, I want to settle down, and there's just not a lot of housing available.
Exactly.
Right.
What do I do?
Right. So it's a lot of the same preparations that you do when you're packaging yourself for renting. So one of the things that you want to make sure that you do, first of all, let's think about what does the owner of the property or the seller of the property want? Let you work with me on this one.
Okay, so it was I assume it's the most money, right? That's what I would think. The seller would want the most money.
What else do they want? How about
That's all I know because we wrote a sappy letter. We write a custom letter to the owner and the seller being like, we're young, we're going to start a family. This is our dream home.
You're not. I'm with you. I want you to put that aside. I know you got into your own psychology. I'm asking, and that's fine. We're going to get there. Okay. I'm asking you a question.
What?
I want you to answer the question so we can work together. Okay.
Go ahead.
So I said to you, what do you think the seller wants?
The most money.
And you said the most money, right? Okay,
yeah.
Good. I got it. I wrote it down.
Okay.
What else do you think the seller wants?
To sell the house.
To sell the house.
With the most money.
With the most money. So that's the second thing. Like they want to see the transaction close.
Correct.
Okay, good. Good. What else do you think they want?
They want no inspection.
Okay. They want like a deal that's going to be quick and easy.
Yeah. No hiccups. Right.
Maybe. So timing. So one way to think about that, and this, you actually brought up another one. So let's deal with what you said first. You said no complicated contingencies.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Well, that's not. I'm not doing that. I need an
Wait,
inspection.
I'm going down the list. I'm not done.
Okay.
The fourth one you said was we talked about just now, timing.
Quick close, right? Timing.
Okay. I don't know about the quick close.
Okay. Forget
Okay.
that.
Because no, it's timing. The reason why I brought it up is because so okay. And then how about do they? This is I'm making it up, but I'm talking to you about it because I want you to understand it.
Mhm.
Do you think the owner would care who's going to live in the house and what they're going to do to it?
From experience, no.
They might.
I would care. I don't think there's emotional attachment. I really
Okay.
don't.
Okay. So I can tell you from having sold homes, I cared about who was coming, like, and why they were using it.
I was
Because
banking on that.
no, I understand.
They did
It's
not care.
we're
Sorry.
making a list. We're
Okay.
making a but they might care as who's the people they're helping.
I hope so. Like I assumed that was the case, Albert.
I'm with you, and you might have
And
given it. You might have given it a lot of weight. Okay, so now let me say them back to you because we
okay,
wrote
go.
them down.
Yes.
So getting the most money, making sure the transaction is going to close.
Mm-hmm.
These are the concerns of the owner, right?
Right.
So getting the most money, the seller, making sure the transaction is going to close, making the transaction easy,
Mm-hmm.
right? Having the transaction work for the owner in their time concerns, whatever that may be,
Mm-hmm.
and then caring about who's living in the property next and what they're gonna do with it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now you're like, okay, well, let me just pick on timing because I think you're thinking about it in one way.
Okay, tell me.
So the owner or seller of the property, if they're living there, how are they going to move? Like they have to go somewhere? Are they like how do they think about where they're going?
Well, there's different situations. Like we've seen houses where they're living in there
Sure.
or it's empty and hasn't been occupied for a whole half a year because it's an old lady selling.
Good.
You know?
So there's a concern there that needs to be addressed.
Flexibility on the buyer when they can move in is huge. And we have
Good.
that. Check.
Good. So just unpacking those now. There's a lot of places to go here. So one thing you might consider is understanding these 5 categories,
Mm-hmm.
and you could have a conversation with the owner about, or the representative of the owner about what the seller is looking for. This is called qualifying, right?
Okay.
So when you're trying to produce a transaction, you're going to make a presentation
Mm-hmm.
of your offer, let's say. But before that, wouldn't you like to know all the things that the seller cares about so that you could present your offer in the most effective way?
How do I ask that question? Phrase it for me, please.
Right. So you could say, listen, I want to make an offer that's a strong offer. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
My husband and I want this place, and I want to understand, and you could do this to the seller's representative, to the agent.
Okay.
You could say, listen, I want to understand what the concerns are of the seller so that I can make a good offer. So like, is it just about him getting the most money or
Okay.
is it
Right.
like what kind of transaction closing timing do they have? What are the typical contingencies that I should be thinking about here that the person has or the property has or not? Then there's things that the realtor has to disclose or not disclose, which are called, defects with the property or whatever things you should know about. Then there's like, oh, what's the timing? How's this going to go? Do they, what do they? Then it's like, then who do they care who buys the property? Those questions, right? And then you didn't make the offer, but you started a conversation in which you're making yourself serious by designing the best offer that you could make.
Mm-hmm. I like that.
Okay. And then, these are more advanced questions, but
Tell me.
what is the person who's selling the property going to do next?
Why would they sell that? Why would they tell that to me?
Because
You mean timeline for the timeline?
or yeah, whatever. So it'll have you manage the offer that you're making.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I understand.
Let's say the person says, Al, Melissa, I live in this property in Pittsburgh for so long, and I really want to sell it because I'm going to Florida
Mm-hmm.
now. And you would say now that you reveal that in your questions, okay? And the person, you said, wait. Do you already have a place in Florida?
Right.
Are you going to sell this and then live with people and then figure it out?
Mm-hmm.
So that would inform the kind of situation that you're in, so that that helps you make your offer. It's like, no, I know you want to go to Florida. I know you have a place picked out. We're going to do a quick and easy deal. And you know what? Even if you move to Florida, I'll make this easy for you. That's something you can include in your offer.
Right. I agree. The flexibility of timeline of moving in or whatnot.
And you could say, hey, I know someone in Florida, and I have a realtor there, and they could help you.
Mm-hmm.
Or whatever. That's amazing.
Right.
So I was trying to take you out of the situation for a moment, and just so you're designing an offer,
Mm-hmm.
right? When you design an offer, you have to see what the person cares about, what problems they had in the past selling the home or wherever they're going, what's their timing, what situations are they in that they have to change now already, are they set up? Do they have a lawyer? All that, do they have a real estate agent? Those questions that you're unpacking so that you could design a good offer. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that was the owner question. That was like how to think about what the owner is worried about, right? And you could have these questions for yourself, and some of them are available and you could check the boxes and answer them. Some of them are in the listings a lot of times. So now you could say, and then then you have to find out about the house, right? So there's the seller of the house. Then there's the house itself.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Then there's you. So let's talk about you.
Go ahead.
You know now all these things, and you could start responding to them. It's like, well, the owner wants to know that you're going to buy the house. How are they going to how do they know you're going to buy the house? So very often in today's day and age, and it's not easy to get a mortgage necessarily, but if you came with a pre-approval letter from a bank for an amount greater or equal to the purchase price of the house, then that makes you a bona fide purchaser. So, or if you had an amount of money in the bank or something like that, and you told the person, no, I just want you to know, if we make a deal, I'm approved. I'm ready to go. And a lot of times that people in your shoes, they walk around with a pre-approval letter or some way that they could demonstrate that they can buy the house.
Right. You have, nowadays you have to do that before you even see the house.
Because people want to know if you're not just fooling around, then they want to know that you're serious.
Of course.
Another thing to know when you're bidding on houses is that what's the typical way, and so the owner wants certain things, that's fine. But then there's also the typical way things get done. Like, in most residential markets, there's a mortgage contingency. Now the question is whether or not your offer includes a mortgage contingency. Or if you had the money and you tell the guy, listen, you want a quick closing and a transaction, and you're going to go into contract with these people and they're going to take 3 months to close and they're going to get a mortgage and all that. How about this? I'll close in 30 days or less, and I'll give you whatever time you need to move out. Fine. Or you know what? If you need to stay in the property, you could stay in the property, and you could stay and rent it from me. I don't need to move in for a while, whatever. So there's just, so why do you think you lost the house, given what I just said?
I don't know if it's given what you said, but the fact there were 7 other offers and the offer they chose was more money, and it was no inspection, no contingencies. And in Pittsburgh, they have this thing called hand money, earnest deposit. Do you know about this? I'm sure you do.
Sure.
And it was greater than ours, and ours was like 3%, which was top.
Yeah. Right. So earnest money is like if you're going to buy something, let's say for, $1 million, and there's a deposit you put down with the contract.
Right.
So that the person who's in contract with you knows you're going to go ahead because you don't want to lose that money.
Right.
right?
Right.
And that shows that you're serious about the deal.
We did
Right.
that. I think it's just, and honestly, Albert, I did most of the things you said. I read the situation. I understood the owner. I bonded over the maple tree in the front that she planted with her granddaughter who happened to be the seller. And I was like, I'm a gardener. I honestly did everything you said. That's why I'm like not losing faith, but just in that transaction, I don't know what happened. I think they wanted the most money.
Sure. So
Yeah,
then you have
everything's
to
going to be
manage, and then
different.
you have to manage yourself by getting other options
Right.
or being able to say, look, how much it's going to be competitive. How much are we going to pay for this house? You say, listen, I see that you're going to take the highest and best offer. That's fine. Give me a chance to make that offer.
They don't come back at you. You
Right.
had to give your
You have
best
to
and
anticipate.
final, and you basically negotiate against yourself. It was like my husband and I were negotiating against each other. Like he's like,
Right.
what's 10 more? I'm like, no. I'm like, no. In my head, oh my God. One thing I'll end on. This was something I dreamed about. Like women dream about their wedding and they're walking down the aisle. I dreamed about negotiating a house one day, and I'm not kidding. And the fact that I didn't get it was so sad.
I, I know
But
how
there'll be
frustrating
more.
it is. I
Yeah.
know, and I've been through it.
Oh, I'm
And
sure.
the answer, I'm going to tell you something. You'll be better at the next one and better at the next one. And it might
Exactly.
happen. And in this market, it may keep happening to you.
Mhm.
And the key is to be prepared. Like with the things that we discussed.
Mhm.
Um,
And it's all education at this point.
so the key is for you to be prepared and understand that you're in a competitive environment. And I think designing the offer is important, and you'll be more ready next time. But I thank you for sharing that story with me. And I hope what we did today was helpful in your thinking.
Yeah. Thank you, Albert. It was. I really appreciate your perspective because I'm going to try harder, be less emotional, and just do all the things you said. So thank you.
You got it.
For more episodes, please subscribe to Ask the Landlord on your favorite podcast platform. We'd appreciate it if you left a review on Apple Podcasts. If you'd like to watch the show, check out our Ask the Landlord YouTube channel. If you have a question for Albert, feel free to contact him on Instagram at Ask the Landlord and check out his TikTok at Ask the Landlord. Bridging the gap between landlords and tenants, this has been Ask the Landlord. Thanks for listening.